Welcome to today's eagerly awaited RootsMagic webinar. My name is Michael Booth, and I'm Vice President of RootsMagic and one of its developers. And also with us this evening is the Roots Magician himself, Bruce Busby. And Bruce, of course, is the President of RootsMagic and its author. Now, more of our users have upgraded to RootsMagic 5 than any other release in our history. But many still have questions and concerns about the upgrade process. How is this upgrade different than past updates? What will happen to all my data? Can I have both RootsMagic 4 and RootsMagic 5 on my computer at the same time? And so we're glad that you joined us as we answer all of your questions and we show you how to transition to version 5's new features quickly and painlessly. And with that introduction, I will turn the time over to Bruce.
Thanks for joining us. Okay, I just want to say a little bit up front right here. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be showing you how to install RootsMagic, how to upgrade your information from version 4 to version 5. We're not going to really be going into the features in RootsMagic 5, the new features. We did do a webinar called What's New in RootsMagic 5 that's available as a free download up on our website. And in the future, we are also going to be having individual feature webinars on each of those new features in RootsMagic 5. So basically what we're doing today is just kind of showing you how to get RootsMagic 5 installed on your computer as painlessly as possible. Okay, now there's two different ways to install RootsMagic on your computer. One is if you happen to order the CD and you get the CD in the mail, you can install from the CD. The other way is to download RootsMagic from our website and install it that way. So we're going to actually go through both types of installations. So whether you have the CD or whether you do the download, we're going to go through and show you exactly how to do that. Now, this screen you see up on, this little window you see up on my screen right now, this is what you're going to see if you install from the CD. That's what we're going to do first. I've inserted the CD into my computer, opened up the little tray, put the CD in, closed it, and usually you'll have to wait a few seconds, but eventually this screen, this autoplay, will come up. Now, if it doesn't, then it becomes a little trickier. You actually have to go into your file manager and actually select that DVD drive or the CD drive and run the autoplay program. Okay, but in most cases, this is what's going to come up. You're going to want to say run Autorun.exe, published by RootsMagic. So you want to make sure it says that. That basically shows that we have put a certificate on this installer to make sure that it doesn't have any viruses, that it actually came directly from us. So I'm going to go ahead and click Autorun to run the Autorun. Now, once you do that, sometimes it takes a few seconds, but eventually a menu is going to come up that's going to let you actually start the installation process. Kind of depends on how long it takes for your computer to get the CD up to speed, you know. So don't worry too much about it. It'll eventually come up. Now, once the installer menu comes up right here, you're going to see there's actually three buttons. There's one right here, a great big one at the top that says Install RootsMagic. There's also one to install the free version of Personal Historian, the Personal Historian Essentials. That's if you want to. That gives you a chance to play with the free version of that. And the other is a button to visit our website. But what we want to do is install RootsMagic. So let's just go ahead and click on that. And RootsMagic is going to bring up the installer wizard, the setup wizard for RootsMagic 5. Now, one thing I want you to notice right here, when you get a CD, sometimes, or actually most of the time, it's not going to have the absolute latest version of RootsMagic on it. Okay, we have to press CDs, thousands of them at a time, and we release free updates as we go along, and we put those up on our website. So even if you get the CD, you may actually prefer to actually go and do the download to make sure you have the latest version. But if you do prefer to go through the CD, I'm going to show you step by step how to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Next. I want to do that. The next thing, you accept the agreement. This is basically saying you're not going to give our software to all your neighbors and all of that type of thing. Click Next. RootsMagic's going to ask you where you want to install the program. Most of you, the default is the best place to install it. If you want to install it someplace else, you can click Browse, but this is usually the best place to install it. So go ahead and click Next. It's going to ask you if you want to have a startup, a start menu folder. I just go ahead and use the default again. Click Next. Some options. Do you want a desktop icon? If you leave that checked, you will have a RootsMagic icon on your desktop. If you click Quick Launch icon, it's going to put a little icon down on your taskbar. And finally, do you want to install the place database? Now this is 140 megabytes. Back in the old days, that used to be huge. Nowadays, that's not a big deal. But that place database is what RootsMagic uses to do geocoding for the gazetteer and those types of features. So you'll most likely want to leave that checked unless you are really, really tight on space. Click Next. It just shows you the options you've selected. Click Install. And then if you are upgrading from RootsMagic 4, if you actually have RootsMagic 4 already on your computer, you will then see this message. And what RootsMagic is saying is there was an older version of RootsMagic. In this case, RootsMagic 4 is on the computer. Would I like to remove it before installing RootsMagic 5? That's completely up to you. Okay, it's up to you whether or not you want to have RootsMagic 4 and 5 on the computer. It's okay. It doesn't hurt anything to have them both on the computer. If you say no, and I'm actually going to say no and leave RootsMagic 4 on the computer, if you say no, you will have RootsMagic 4 and RootsMagic 5 on your computer. If you later decide, okay, I don't really need RootsMagic 4 after all, you can uninstall it. You can go down to the Start button down in the lower left corner and click on that, go to your control panel and choose Uninstall Program, and it will show you RootsMagic 4 and RootsMagic 5 both in the list, and you can select RootsMagic 4 and uninstall it. So I'm going to go ahead and say no, I don't want to uninstall 4. So I'm going to have them both on there. And RootsMagic is going to start installing RootsMagic 5 from my CD. So right now it's installing the RootsMagic program itself. Okay. Now it's installing that place database. I had left a check mark to install the place database. So at this point it's actually installing that place database, which is 3.5 million place names from around the world that you can search for in the gazetteer or that you can use to geocode your database to use with some of the reports and some of the features in RootsMagic. Once RootsMagic finishes installing the place database, it's going to go ahead and wrap up and say it's finished. And if I want to, I can leave this checked and say Launch RootsMagic, and I'll go ahead and do that and click Finish. Now when I finish that, I'm going to go ahead and close this. I can actually close that. I can actually just close that that installer menu at any time. Okay, the first screen I'm going to see here is it's going to ask me if I want to use the full registered version or if I want to use the free RootsMagic Essentials version. Now, what I would normally do here is I would click on the full registered version and enter my registration key. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm also going to install later from a download to show you how to install from a download, and I'll enter the key at that time. So I'm going to go ahead and say let's just use the free version for right now. Okay, so RootsMagic's going to come up, and this is the free version, and it's going to show me the RootsMagic news and tell me that an update to RootsMagic's now available, and I could install that update right here. But I want to exit from here without doing that because I want to show something. Go ahead and close this. I want to show you something that is new in RootsMagic 5, and this is why I'm actually installing this older version from the CD, even though normally I would do it from a download. And that is right down here in the bottom right corner of your status bar. If there is a new version of RootsMagic available, and if you're connected to the internet, RootsMagic will show you that there's an update available. Okay, so even if you turn off that news screen, you'll always be able to tell if there's an update available just by looking in that lower corner. So you can wait until you get our email newsletter saying there's an update or whatever, but if you look down there, you'll know right away. And if I click on that, RootsMagic will come up and tell me there's a newer update available to download. I can click Learn about this update. It will take me on to our website where it'll tell you what features are new, what bugs we fixed, things like that. Or I can say download and install this update now. And if I do that, RootsMagic is going to just basically start the download. Once it's finished, it's going to say we need to shut the program down so we can install the update. You'll say okay. It'll install the update, start the program back up, and that's all there is to it. It's completely automated, but it does give you the choice of whether you want to update. So if you aren't ready to update at this time, you can go ahead and click cancel and go ahead and click update the next time you're ready. Now, one thing I do want to mention is when you are upgrading from RootsMagic 4 to RootsMagic 5, in other words, you've got data in RootsMagic 4, I definitely encourage you to go download the latest update before you open up that RootsMagic 4 file to bring into version 5. Okay? With each update, we add little features, but we also fix bugs. So by making sure that you always have the latest update before you do something like a conversion from version 4 to version 5, you're making sure that that conversion goes as smoothly as possible. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hop out of here right now, and I am going to bring up our website. So that right there, what we just did is how to install from the CD. Okay, you can see it was pretty painless. To do the download, you will have received an email that will say, go to rootsmagic.com/download. So you would open up your browser. I happen to be using Chrome here, but it doesn't matter whether you use Chrome or Explorer or Firefox or whatever. Each will work a little bit differently in how they do downloads, but they're all somewhat similar. So you will go to that screen, go to that page, and you'll see downloads. Select the product you wish to download. So if you ordered RootsMagic, make sure you order or download RootsMagic. There's also the free version. You don't need to worry about that when you've bought it. But there's also, as you scroll down, there's Personal Historian, there's Family Reunion Organizer, and then there's actually older versions. So if you actually did go ahead and uninstall version 4 when RootsMagic 5 asked if you wanted to, and you later decide you would like to have version 4 on there as well for some reason, you can always come back and download these older versions. So they are available there. So you're going to come to rootsmagic.com/download, click the download button, and RootsMagic is going to give you 2 different files you can download, and this is the one you want, the RootsMagic Installer. Now, this is always going to be the most recent version. Unlike the CD, which might have an older version on it, this will always be the latest version. So if you're using an older version and you don't particularly want to click that update available and use the automatic updater, or if for some reason it doesn't seem to work, occasionally you may have a situation where that automatic updater has a problem. If that's the case, you can always come to this rootsmagic.com/download and download the installer from here and do your update from here as well. Okay, so now I'm going to click on the installer, and in the case of RootsMagic, it is going, or the the browser Chrome, it's going to start doing the download. Okay, and so it basically downloads it and puts the downloaded file down here on my status bar. Other browsers work a little bit differently. Explorer will come up with a box and ask, possibly, do you want to run this or save it? And you can do either one. If you have the option to just run the downloaded file, that's usually easiest, because that way you don't have to keep track of where you actually saved the file you downloaded. Okay, so it'll download and then it'll just automatically run. You don't have to then go into Explorer and try to find that file and download it. So I'm going to go ahead and I've clicked on that. It's downloaded it. So I am then going to run that. Now, when you run the downloaded installer, RootsMagic is going to show you the file, and then it's going to show you publisher, RootsMagic Inc. Make sure that publisher says RootsMagic Inc. If it says unknown publisher or something like that, that could mean that the downloaded file is either corrupt or there is some other problem. Okay, you want to make sure, that's important, that says that the publisher is RootsMagic Inc. Okay, if you have that, go ahead and click on Run. RootsMagic is going to open up the installer. Okay, and at this point, you're going to be doing exactly what we did on the CD once we actually selected the installer. Okay, and so at this point, we'll do it exactly the same way. We're going to click on Next. We're going to accept that agreement just like we did before. We're going to choose whether or not we want to do this. You'll also be able to choose where you want it installed and things like that. Okay, I'm going to tell it to install. Once again, it's asking, do I want to remove that version 4, that older version? And if I want to, I can, but again, I'm going to say no. And RootsMagic again is going to go ahead and do the install for me. So it's installing RootsMagic 5 right here. Okay, and while it's installing, I'm going to go ahead and close my little browser window there. Okay, once it's completed, it's going to ask me if I want to launch RootsMagic, and I'm going to say yes. And again, it's going to come up and give me the options. Do I want to run the free version? Do I want to purchase it, or do I want to unlock the program? Okay, this time we're going to actually go ahead and unlock the program. So in other words, when you purchase RootsMagic 5, you're going to get a registration key. Now, if you order a CD, that registration key is on a card on the inside of the DVD case. You'll open up the DVD case. On the right side, you'll see the CD. On the left side, you'll see instructions on how to install the program, and it will also have your registration key. If you order a download, you will actually have an email that told you to go to rootsmagic.com/download, and also has the registration key in there as well. Now, if you ordered a CD, this sometimes confuses people. If you order a CD, you get the download as well. So you can order the CD and you'll have a download, so you can actually download and start using the program right away before the CD gets there, and then you can just keep the CD as a backup or whatever you need. Now, the one thing that you might notice is that the key inside that DVD case that comes with the CD is going to be different from the one you received in your email. Okay, and we have people asking them which one they should be using. The answer is you can use either one of them. Both of them are licensed to your name. They're both tied to your name, so you can use whichever one you want to actually use. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to unlock the full version of RootsMagic, and when we click that, RootsMagic is going to ask me for 2 pieces of information, and it gives a hint right there what you want. Enter your name exactly as you used to purchase the product. So I'm going to put Bruce Busby right here, and then it says to enter the full registration key. Now that registration key has a specific format. The first 3 letters are RM5. Okay, we have some confusion sometimes. Some people think that that is RMS, like Sam, but it's not. It's RM5, RootsMagic 5. Okay, and so the best way to do it is, if you ordered the download, is to go into your email and highlight the registration key and copy and paste that key into here. Okay. Otherwise, just be very careful as you enter it. It doesn't really matter whether you enter upper or lower case, and it really doesn't matter if you enter those hyphens, but it doesn't hurt to go ahead and do that to make sure it looks exactly like the registration key that is either on that card or in that email. So I'm going to go ahead and enter the key, and once I do that, I'm going to unlock it. And the next thing it's going to ask you for right here is to register RootsMagic. So there's two things that are going on here. The first one is unlocking that program. That registration key unlocks the program. It turns RootsMagic Essentials into the full RootsMagic 5, unlocks all of those extra features. Now, what this is asking you for is to register your copy of RootsMagic. And what that does is basically sends us your information, your name and address, along with that registration key, to tie that registration key so that if you ever lose your registration key, and trust me, people lose their registration keys. That is the #1 tech support issue that we have, is looking up lost registration keys for people. Okay, if we have your registration key, we can just email that back to you. If we don't have your registration key and we don't have a way of knowing that you actually ordered the program, we can't actually provide you with that lost registration key. Okay. The other advantage of registering is it allows us to know that we should be providing tech support for you. We can't provide tech support on that free version, on that RootsMagic Essentials, but so registering lets us know whether or not we can be providing you with the free tech support. Okay, it also gets you discounts. When we release new major upgrades, you get discounted prices on that, and then we can automatically notify you when there's upgrades. So you can register either online, in which case RootsMagic is going to take you to a screen where you can just fill it in and click OK, and that's it. Or you can register by phone. Okay, and if you do that, you can just call our number and provide that registration information to the person that answers the phone, or you can register later. Now, if you choose to register later, RootsMagic's going to remind you that, if you don't register with us and you lose that registration key, we can't help you with that. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of show you the register online. I'm going to go ahead and click continue, and you're going to see the screen. RootsMagic's actually going to start up, but in the background, it's going to show you right there where you can enter the information and click register, and then you're registered. So that's all there really is to registering. Okay, now, since I installed this last time from the internet, in other words, I did the download, you'll notice RootsMagic is not telling me that there's an update available, and in this lower corner, it's not saying that there's an update available because I am using the latest version. That's the advantage of using the most recent version of RootsMagic. Okay, now at this point, I am in RootsMagic 5. Now you can tell RootsMagic 5 from RootsMagic 4 mainly because of the color of the icon, the shortcut. RootsMagic 4, if you remember, was a green background with a white tree. RootsMagic 5 is a bright yellow background with a green tree. So you shouldn't be confusing the icons for 4 and 5, even if you have them both installed. Okay, at this point, I need to go open my RootsMagic 4 data. Okay, so I'm going to go and click on open. Okay, and I am going to tell it I want to open my RootsMagic 4 file. Now this is different. For those of you who upgraded from RootsMagic 3 to 4, you remember to do that you had to go to File and then Import, and you had to import that old version 3 file into 4. The reason for that is because RootsMagic 4 was a completely new program. We totally rewrote it. Everything was different. The database format was completely different. Okay, RootsMagic 4 to 5 the file formats are basically about the same. There's a few little differences, but I'm going to go ahead and say I want to open the file. So I don't do import to go to from 4 to 5. If I'm coming from 3 to 5, then yes, I would do import. But if I'm going to go from 4 to 5, I'm going to say open a file, and I'm going to go to my folder where my version 4 data is, and I'm going to select my version 4 database, tell it to open it, and RootsMagic is going to give me a warning. Okay, and you notice that it has some text in red, and if you've ever heard me talk before, you know that if you see red text, that means you better pay attention to this. Okay, so what this is saying is it's about to convert the database, and it's saying you may want to create a backup of your older file first. Okay, this could be a good reason why you might keep version 4 on your computer, is to go back to version 4 and make a backup of that file before you actually do this convert. The database you want to open is from an old version of RootsMagic, and it's telling you if you continue, RootsMagic is going to convert this database from a version 4 format to a version 5 format. Okay, version 4 cannot open a version 5 file, and so that's what it's saying. Once this database is converted, you will have to create a GEDCOM file from RootsMagic 5 and go import that back into the earlier versions of RootsMagic. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say continue with the conversion. RootsMagic is going to go through, it's going to do a little bit of cleanup, and that's all there is to it. Okay, RootsMagic has now taken my RootsMagic 4 file and turned it into a RootsMagic 5 file. Okay, so that is an overview of how to install RootsMagic 5, whether you're coming using from a CD or as a download, and also how to get your data from RootsMagic 4 into RootsMagic 5. Now, one other thing I will mention, when I did that file open, I chose this option. I said open a file, and it opened up the Windows File dialog, and I did that because I knew where the file was. I knew where my RootsMagic 4 file was. If you don't know where your RootsMagic 4 database is, you know, if it's not in documents or some easy place like that, and you're not really sure where it is, when you do that file open, you'll choose this option, search for a file, and what that's going to do is that's going to start searching your hard drive and find the RootsMagic 5 or RootsMagic 4 files that you have, and you can go ahead and select it and tell it to open it at that point. Okay, so hopefully this shows you how easy it is to actually move your information from RootsMagic 4 to RootsMagic 5, or just get started with RootsMagic 5 new. So are there any questions, Mike? Okay, I do see one right here. Yep. How does RootsMagic 5 work with RootsMagic To-Go? What you'll find is that when you install RootsMagic 5 on your computer, you will have a RootsMagic 5 icon, and you will also have a RootsMagic 5 To-Go icon. So RootsMagic 4 has a RootsMagic 4 To-Go icon, and RootsMagic 5 has a RootsMagic 5 To-Go icon. Okay, so each version has its own version of To-Go, so you don't want to be mixing and matching those. You'll want to actually, if you're using RootsMagic 5, you'll want to use RootsMagic 5 To-Go, because that will install RootsMagic 5 on your flash drive instead of installing RootsMagic 4 on your flash drive. Okay, another question I see. If upgrading from RootsMagic 5 Essentials, is data automatically uploaded in the full version? The answer to that is yes. RootsMagic Essentials, RootsMagic 5 Essentials, and RootsMagic 5 are the same program. The only difference is that RootsMagic 5 has additional features that you can use. So when you actually purchase RootsMagic 5 and get the registration key, you'll just run RootsMagic Essentials and choose that option to unlock the full version. Okay, so if you're already using RootsMagic Essentials, you don't have to even go through this download or install a CD. You don't have to do any of that. You just run Essentials, choose the unlock option when you start it, enter your registration key right there, and it turns RootsMagic Essentials into RootsMagic 5. Okay, so there's no actually having to worry about converting that data right there as well. Okay, when installing from the website, when do you install the place database? That's a good question. You notice when I actually did that download version, it didn't actually install, it didn't ask me to install the place database. The reason for that is because I had previously put the CD in, and so the installer actually detected that the place database was already installed. If I didn't have that place database already installed, when I download that first RootsMagic program, it will actually ask me if I want to install the place database, and I would say yes, and it would take care of that for me. So I don't actually have to go back out to the website and download that separately. It's available if I do want to do that, but installing RootsMagic from a download, if it detects I don't have the place database already installed, it will ask me about installing that. Okay, can you repeat how to go from RootsMagic 3 to 5? Okay, this is how you will go from any version of RootsMagic other than 4. So in other words, coming from RootsMagic 1, 2, or 3, what you will do is instead of doing File and then Open, and then just opening the RootsMagic 4 file, you'll go File and then Import, and you'll choose this option right here, Import from RootsMagic versions 1 through 3. And it has the search for files and also the I know where the file is. So it has those same options to just basically use the Windows file dialog or to actually search for files. So you can do that the same way. I see a couple of questions about other programs. That's the same way. You can import from Family Tree Maker 2006 and earlier, from Family Origins, from Legacy, from Path, and of course if you've got a GEDCOM file, you can do that as well. I see somebody saying they have Family Tree Maker 2012. Okay, if you've got one of these newer versions of Family Tree Maker, what you'll do is from Family Tree Maker, you'll create a GEDCOM file, and then you will import that into RootsMagic. You'll do it that way. So this Family Tree Maker goes with the 2006 and earlier. That does it direct. If it's newer than that, create a GEDCOM file to import that. Okay, a question, is there a way to have both RootsMagic and RootsMagic Essentials on the same computer? And the answer to that is no. Like I said, it's the same program. The only difference is that the registration key tells you that it's locked versus unlocked. So there isn't a way to actually have both the full version and the Essentials version on that. Now, I know most people probably say, why would you ever need both on there? We realize there are some situations, especially like if a person's showing somebody how it works, but there isn't a way to have both of those on there. Okay, if I have multiple databases, I assume you need to open each one to convert it to RootsMagic 5. Yes. So when you do the file open to open a database, that's when RootsMagic will do the conversion. So it's not going to go through and just hunt down all your files and convert them without your permission. When you open a file or open a database, that's when you have the opportunity to convert it. So if you have 3 or 4 databases, you'll need to go in and open that file. It'll say we need to convert it. You can convert it, and then you move on to the next one. Okay. It says we've been talking about upgrading. What about those that are coming to RootsMagic 5 for the first time? Okay. For those who are coming to RootsMagic 5 for the first time, you do exactly what I showed you. The only difference is that you don't do that file open and then select the RootsMagic 4 file. You will basically do File and then New and create a new file, and that will create a new blank database where you can start using the commands to start adding people, or you can do File, Import, and import data that you may already have in another program. Okay, somebody said they downloaded RootsMagic 5 but not the place database. If you want to go back and install that, just go back to the rootsmagic.com/download and choose the option to download that right there. Can I install it to both computers? Yes, we license RootsMagic to your personal household. So if you have a desktop and a laptop, yes, you can install your copy on both your desktop and your laptop. Or if you and a spouse both have your own computer, you can install that program on each of your computers. You can't install the full program on children's computers that live in another household somewhere, because it is licensed to your household, but you can install it on any of the computers within your household. Okay. When RootsMagic sees an older version of RootsMagic to uninstall, is that older version only for, or all earlier versions? And I'm going to have to ask you on that one, Mike. Mike, when RootsMagic sees and says there's an older version of RootsMagic, is that only version 4, or does that include version 1, 2, and 3 also?
That's only version 4.
Okay. So, and like I say, it doesn't hurt. RootsMagic 5 is an independent program, so it doesn't matter if you have...
I'm sorry. That's version 3 and version 4.
Okay,
I had to look that up.
Okay, version 3 and 4. So not 1 and 2, but it does mean that it would be 3 and 4. But like I say, it doesn't hurt to have the different versions installed on your computer. If you have 5 and 4 or 5 and 3, it doesn't hurt. If you want those others off of your computer, just go to Control Panel, go to the Uninstall, and then you can uninstall whichever versions you want from right there. Okay. Let's see. Okay, it looks like that pretty much covers the questions on installing RootsMagic on your computer and upgrading from version 4. So hopefully you've enjoyed this, and hopefully you've learned something. We hope that if you have upgraded to version 5, we hope you're enjoying the new features, and we'll see you next week as we talk about working with multimedia. So thanks for joining us.